So the friendly people at Hyundai have given me this i30N hatchback for a week, and it's been like slipping on a familiar pair of gloves, the epitome of hot hatchiness. I took it on a decent road trip, and yes, you can easily fit a bike in the back with the rear seats down, despite the new rear cross brace. It's such an easy car to drive. The performance, as ever, lively. And now they've added auto blip on the steering wheel, so at the touch of a button, it'll do its snap, crackle and pop thing on down changes every time you stop at the lights, without even having to shuffle your feet. But today I have to take it to Mark. Every time I've had a manual gearbox Hyundai, Mark's been away. So today I'm going to get him to answer the only question you have to ask yourself: 6-speed manual or 8-speed dual clutch transmission? Which would he choose? Now, I've done the maths on the overall gear ratios, and you might think that the manual box with 2 fewer gears has a much wider spread between ratios, but that's not the case. The maximum speed in gears for each car is very similar for the first 6 gears. The auto's just slightly lower geared. It's just the 8-speed has a couple of extra long gears on the top for highway cruising, or for just trying to stretch your fuel economy. What I'm saying is that if you change at redline in either car, you're always going to end up bang in the middle of the torque curve with more than 4,000 revs on board. So either car should pull hard without falling off the boost. But we'll find out. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get Mark in the car. So we're proving today that petrol is not dead and the manual gearbox is not quite dead. Everyone talks about, oh, this will be the last manual. After the last i30N, there will be no more manuals. But here we are, 2024, 2025 model, and we've got a manual gearbox i30N still.
With auto blip.
Yeah.
How good's that?
That's just in sport mode, isn't it?
It's in sport mode, rev button on, auto blip button. I think it's a great feature to have. I really like that auto blip. I'm a bit old school. I do like to do it the old-fashioned way and use my foot correctly. However, as we know, most people don't know how to heel and toe properly. So just at slow suburban speeds like this, it's timed quite nicely.
Yeah. Just makes it, you hardly feel it. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So the question is, because you're a left foot braker on the track, if you had a choice between this, maybe it's a bit early to say yet, this is a manual or this is a DCT on the track?
The answer to the question is probably the same as when people ask me when they're buying Porsche GT3, should I get a manual or should I go PDK? If you're using a lot of track work, that's the reason you buy the car. I think for me, paddle shift, left foot braking, for me is a better way to go on the track. It just gives you more control, weight transfer. Leaves both hands on the steering wheel when you're driving. But the thing I do love about manuals, and all my cars are manuals, there's not so much sitting in Sydney traffic. That can be a bit of a pain, but just like we're doing today, going for a fun drive on a country road, for me that's where a manual transmission is just fantastic. So I think they're great. I love them, and I love the fact Hyundai still make them. And probably if I was buying one for myself, I wouldn't be using the car on the track. That wouldn't be my plan, even though a lot of people do and they're great on the track. I'd probably go for manual, I reckon. Manual Megane, I've got a manual Audi A4 Quattro, I've got a Ferrari 360 gate. So, I like my stick shifts.
You do. Speaking of the Megane, that's got beautiful Recaro seats in it, that car. Really grippy for skinny ass guys like you.
Yeah.
So how do you like this one?
Yeah, you know what? The seats in this initially seem to be quite ordinary. They're made for sort of lard-ass Australians and Americans, I think. I'm pretty confident after a little bit of driving, though.
We're only 2 minutes into the video and we're already doing racial epithets.
Yeah, we are. Lumbar support on this, Stu? Doesn't appear to be.
No, nothing.
There's not much lumbar
their
support.
custom sports bucket.
Yeah.
And it's been updated. It's got Alcantara now, and it's okay, but I get it. They're designed for a wide range of bottoms.
They are. I like them. They look good. Straight away with my dodgy old back, there is not much lumbar support in it, and I think on a long drive that would start to do my head in a little bit. And maybe it's a sign of my age, but seats are something that I do really look at with a car these days.
I get it.
Not so great.
Okay.
But if I remember correctly, the i30N sedan had a bit of lumbar adjustment.
Yeah, it had 8-way adjustable seats with lots of all of and my favourite feature, which everybody knows by now, is ventilation and cooling.
Yeah, absolutely. So
which I love.
That was a really good feature of the sedan. I think they've missed something on this car with that.
This is the Boy Racer special. This is people that want to do track days.
Yeah.
You want a manual car, you want a hatchback.
this is the car. There are very few in this category. You could have a Golf, but they're only automatics. A Golf GTI is not as fast as this, and it's automatic. A Golf R, I was in one 2 weeks ago at City Motorsport Park, absolute weapon.
Yeah.
All-wheel drive, 235 kilowatts, really pointy, absolute rocket ship, great car. And that's the advantage that would have over this, is the all-wheel drive. 70 grand. It's at least 10 grand more expensive than this car.
And no manual option?
No manual option.
Yeah.
So again, no manual. Honda Civic Type R. Now you've got the 6-speed manual gearbox, 235 kilowatts, 420 newton meters. Civic Type R is a great car, but again, $74,000. What else? You could get a Yaris GR, or I should say GR Yaris, which is 200 kilowatts. But they're priced similarly to this. Here are the prices for those cars on the screen. I've forgotten it exactly. There's the standard GR and there's the Rally. Or you could get the new GR Corolla, but again, 220 kilowatts.
Great looking car. I haven't driven one, but I do want to drive one of those because they look fantastic, I think. And
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the whole GR range.
The Yaris was fun. You liked that, didn't you?
Yeah, I like the Yaris.
And all-wheel drive and configurable. 60-40, 50-50, 30-70.
Yeah.
That was very good.
I'm interested just to try this car a little further on down the road with the diff setup. Really, these days, the front-wheel drive cars are so good, aren't they? I mean,
I remember how positively you spoke about it 2 years ago when we were driving the PDK one of these. So if you do want to see our pretty in-depth review of the i30N DCT, please have a look at that. There's the link up there to that one. But for the moment, stick with us, because manual gearbox today. First impressions on the gearbox?
it's nice. It's got a real good mechanical feel to it, hasn't it?
Bit doughy down low?
The engine is a little bit doughy down low, like the gearbox feels fantastic. Just that initial throttle response is not great. I mean, this feels a little flat, like you push the accelerator and kind of nothing much happens. But I do love how configurable the car is, and there's so many gadgets to play with it. From a sporting point of view, is so much fun.
Well, here we are, for example. We've set up Custom 2, which is the right-hand blue button down there.
Yep.
Now I've turned everything up max on that one.
Yep.
And stability control off. So if you do select Custom 2, just a short press, and it says now it wants a long press to acknowledge. Hold it in till it goes beep again. No stability control. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I think we're cool for that for the moment. Yeah, I'm just sitting there at 70 k's an hour. I'm in fifth gear, and put your foot down. It's very flat, isn't it? Obviously, it likes to rev, but you need to drop it out of gear, and it's still not great, is it?
That was only 2,000 revs. Not a real lot.
Fourth gear at 80 k's an hour.
Now, we're in Custom 2. That's too bumpy. Well, that's racetrack mode. Can you go back to sort of a more civilised human being style mode, please? There you go.
So
that's nice.
sport?
That's sport. Yeah. Eco. No.
We go,
Eco. No one's going to buy this car and drive it in eco mode, are they?
But let's go for normal.
Normal.
Mode.
Okay. All right. Finally, a bit of open road. You found the limiter.
And the limiter gets up there pretty quick, doesn't it? I've made the comment that it's not terribly responsive down low, but once it's at about 4,500 revs, it really is super responsive.
Should I back the suspension off a notch?
Yeah, let's back that off a little bit, make it just a little softer for this road.
Just not quite so.
Yeah, not quite as harsh.
A little bit more compliance.
That's one thing we really love with the N cars. You make little adjustments like that with whether it be diff or suspension, and it does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice through there, isn't it?
Isn't it? Oh, I
really feel that diff working well there.
I can feel I'm going to end up with a neck like Oscar Piastri at the end of the day.
He does have a rugby player's neck, doesn't he, our young Oscar?
He's just gone from a little teenager to Hulk Hogan.
Big fan of Oscar's. He's doing amazing work. Can't believe how well he's going. Mark Webber certainly picked a winner there, didn't he?
Yeah, sure has.
Just gets that little bit of wheel spin down low there, doesn't it? But
this is cool, Mark. Okay, the hot hatch is definitely not dead.
No.
And the manual gearbox as well. Oh shit, that's good. Wow.
That's nice, isn't it?
That's very good. Aren't you glad I brought this to you today?
Yeah, great cars, aren't they? It just lacks a little bit of throttle response. It comes on boost really quickly after that, but I'd just like a little bit more instant throttle response when you're trying to shift a bit of weight through a corner, and you want a little bit of throttle and it's just not giving you what you want.
Thing is, the performance specs of this car haven't really changed since the first release of it in 2018. So there are about 500 of these on the market now in Australia.
Wow.
It's about 300 of them being hatchbacks. And we're talking about N cars, the i30N. So there's plenty to choose from. And yes, a lot of them have done a lot of track time because they offer a warranty for track time. The only manufacturer that does. So maybe that's something to be wary of, but nonetheless, they're great value for money second hand. I was looking last night. You could get one if you're prepared to go over 100,000 Ks, and I probably wouldn't, as low as 23 grand. And this car's virtually 60 on the road, brand new. So that's for a car that's 5 years old. But if you want one with low Ks, say 20,000 Ks, a 1 year old car with 20,000 Ks from a dealer will be 30% less than this car. So you can probably get one for low 40s or even 40 grand, which is good buying.
That's impressive, isn't it?
For me, the sweet spot's ones with about 60,000 Ks, a couple of years old, about 3 years old, still under warranty, because it's a 5-year warranty, and you can get one of those for around 30 grand.
That's one of the things we really do love about Hyundai, the way they back their product for racetrack warranty claims. I mean, I'd like to know how many racetrack related warranty claims they've had. I bet there's not many. There's not many manufacturers will warrant their car under those conditions. So, you know, well done Hyundai for sticking to that. I think that's a great feature of these cars. Brakes feel good, Stu. Really nice feedback through the pedal.
On a loose surface, here's our lateral Gs. Yeah.
Superb, isn't it?
You like all the little red accents?
Yeah, I love the red accents. The colour's probably not for me. I do like my performance blue, the traditional sort of hero colour. I really like the red highlights, Stu. That just brings up the shape of the car. The red calipers. The colour, primer grey.
Grey, I think, is a colour. This flat grey is a colour you have if you don't want to ever wash your car. Because when it's dirty, it still looks clean, and when it's really clean, it still looks like it's a little bit dirty.
You've just been driving on a bit of dirt road there, and you wouldn't even know it, would you? So
no.
Nice selection of tyres on this car too, Stu.
Yep.
They've done a good job with that.
I like the elegant line that goes all the way from the headlights to the taillights.
We recently reviewed the i30N sedan, didn't we? Which I initially didn't like the look of with all the different angles. It's all a bit abstract for me, but it sort of grew on me after a while. That for me, I don't think you can go past the hatch. I think that I really like the design of it. It's they've done a good job with it. A little diffuser on the back. The fat exhaust look brilliant.
Yeah, I wonder if that actually does anything. I wonder why they've added that. What do you think that's for?
Let us know in the comments, people, because we haven't got a clue.
There are 3 models now. They just had previously had the N and the N Premium with sunroof, and they've added the N Premium with no sunroof.
Yeah.
But today we've got the one with all the fruit, so
yeah. Okay.
60 grand. In fact, there's the exact price up there. See? Up there where my finger is, where the flies just landed. I've got my stuff in the boot, but nothing much to see there. We know that. Except we've now got a cross brace like the i30N sedan has.
Yes.
So they've increased the stiffness. The i30N sedan was a completely different chassis, different wheelbase, different height, width, everything. It was quite a different car. They've added some of the things from that to this. The wheels now being grey. That's a new option, having the matte grey wheels.
That's a good looking wheel, isn't it, Stu?
Just taken off again. We've got the same old problem we always have. The insurance industry, ANCAP, decided it was too easy for cars to get 5-star ratings. All cars, to get a 5-star rating, you've got to have speed sign recognition and lane keeping, and they've got to come on automatically when you get in the car. And unfortunately, Hyundai's followed suit with that. So you actually, every time you get in the car, we've got to go through the settings. I've put a shortcut on the wheel, that little star button there, which takes me straight to vehicle settings, and I've got to go speed limit, off, so it's not watching out for speed signs and beeping constantly at you. And then I've also got to go to driving safety.
Yep.
And turn off lane safety, which is the lane so it's not tugging at the wheel, which is quite annoying.
It's really obtrusive, isn't it? You know, you're sitting in the middle of the lane and the steering wheel is just tugging at you left and right. Super annoying. The dumbing down of driving continues, Stu. If you can't keep your car in the damn lane, you probably shouldn't be driving.
Anyway, that's the reason.
Yeah, it's the regulations.
They're trying to make sure they get the optimal safety rating. Well, last time we were in the i30N hatchback, we didn't have over-the-air updates. Here's VoiceOver Stu to tell you all about that.
Hey, thank you, Stu. Now, BlueLink and the associated app for your phone is something you might not think too much about, but might prove invaluable one day. For a start, if someone breaks in and, God forbid, nicks your magnificent i30N, you'll get an alarm notification and you can track it anywhere in the world. Or for absent-minded bin doofs like me, after I've lost it in the Westfield car park, I can get walking instructions right back to the car. You can remotely lock and unlock it, check the fuel level and tyre pressures and other basic functions, and even send a destination to the nav system. Thank God it won't actually drive there without you though. Don't need that kind of nonsense. BlueLink also gives you the SOS function, automatic collision notification, live traffic updates, geo-fencing and speed alerts if you're silly enough to lend it to somebody like Mark. And seeing as we're on the topic, if it were an EV like the Ioniq, which it's not, you could turn on the aircon and the heater, monitor your charging and range and all that good EV stuff. Okay, back to mobile Stu.
Thank you, VoiceOver Stu. Now we're back on the road again. On this, we'll have to get a new road, Mark. This one's too bashed up now.
Yeah. So let's go the softest diff to the hardest diff.
You want? Okay.
Yeah, you can feel there. Just this lights up the inside wheel just a little bit, doesn't it? I really like that feature with the diff on this car. You can definitely feel the difference.
So a little bit more harder to turn in.
Yeah, look, it's
a little tighter.
It sort of loads a little bit more on turn in, and it just grips. You get no wheel spin, really no torque steer. It's just fantastic.
So hopefully they
100%. What brake pressure can we get, Stu? Let's have a look. You ready?
Yep.
That 106?
Yep, 106
bar. Pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah. So all these cars I've mentioned, the Golf, the Civic, the Yaris, the Megane, they're all in the $60,000 to $75,000 range, which is still a lot of money. And I can't help but mention it, and you know what I'm going to say. They've just had that special on the MGX Power, which is 430 horsepower, all-wheel drive, torque vectoring for low 40s on sale. They're advertising mid to high 40s, but you can actually shop around and get one for that. So I can't help but mention that.
Yeah.
Just an alternative, but you don't get this, you don't get that. I don't know what they're like on the track. Should we try and get one on the track? Would you like to do that?
Yeah, we'll have to do that one at some stage too.
They do an H&R suspension kit for that car, just by the way. Just so you think we're not here doing an ad for Hyundai, we can talk about other brands. Oh, thank God, some smooth road.
Hopefully.
Take me home, mate. I've had enough of this car.
It does like to rev, doesn't it, Stu?
It does.
I wouldn't mind betting, you know, again, if you're on the track, driving it hard, it just gives you that little bit of lack of throttle response on entry into a corner that, you know, when you just want to transfer a little bit of weight to the back, just at the crucial point, I don't think it'll give it to you. It's really nice through there, isn't it?
Yeah, this is better.
Yeah.
Steering. What do you think?
Excellent.
Yeah?
Yeah, really good weight to it.
Brake feel?
Yeah, really good. Nice feedback through the pedal. Big calipers. Works really well.
Seat position and ergonomics?
Ergonomics are great in terms of positioning, you know, as far as seat to steering wheel. No tilt on the bottom of the seat. The seat itself is not great. That'd actually be a little bit of a deal breaker for me, to be honest.
And thigh support as well?
Yeah, thigh support's pretty much non-existent.
Okay. Pedal positioning? And
yeah, all that's great.
Yeah. You haven't needed to heel and toe much because the auto has been pretty good.
I've gone to do it a few times and the car's actually beaten me to it. So That works really well. Electronics are great, outstanding, and it just responds so well. So the tunability from a driver's perspective is great. I love that.
Okay. And the overall performance of the motor?
We've already mentioned it initially. I know it's a turbo, it's a 2-litre turbo, I get that. But most turbo cars you drive these days, that's been tuned out, and I'm sure you could tune it out with this car without any trouble at all. It really needs to be doing well over 4,000 revs to get any kind of acceptable throttle response in my view. So I'd like to fix that up. If I owned this car, I would sort that out.
The manual gearbox?
The manual's great, really nice mechanical feel to it, I like that. If you're doing a lot of track work, I would go DCT, so you can left foot brake, you've got both hands on the wheel, it's a super fast shift. Certainly faster than the manual, so that it does accelerate more quickly as a result of that. And if you're sitting in traffic, you'd want an auto for sure, but doing a bit of fun country driving as we've done today, and manual's brilliant. I've really enjoyed driving it.
Last question, this or a Toyota GR Yaris for the same price?
For the same price?
Yeah.
Hard to go past a Yaris, but having said that, I really do like what Hyundai are doing with their end cars.
So you think you'd go for the Yaris?
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've driven a Yaris. We might need to do that again. I've got to get that back in my memory.
The problems with that car, with the seat was too high, if you remember. You just felt like a bus driver.
Yeah.
But having the tunable all-wheel drive front to rear was really good.
At the end of the day, you know, we're squirting this car through some pretty tight, twisty corners out there, and would it be any better if it was all-wheel drive? I don't think so.
What if it was raining?
If it was raining, that'd probably change things. But, you know, let's say you had a Yaris GR through there. Would it get through those corners any faster than this car? I don't think it would.
Viewer, thank you for watching. My lone viewer. Oh, there's more than one of you. That's nice.
Thanks, guys. Leave a comment if you've enjoyed the i30N manual.
Now, I can't explain this, but I agree with Mark that this particular press car was not as responsive down low as other i30Ns we've driven. These cars produce maximum torque from as low as 2,000 revs, and it just did not feel that strong. I've mentioned it to Hyundai, and if there's any update, I'll pin it in the comments.
Long trip, yeah, without lumbar support, it wouldn't be that fantastic. So Mark had some misgivings. He's got a dodgy old back, so don't worry about that. So if petrol's your thing, whether you want a manual gearbox or a DCT, doesn't matter, they're both good. If $57,000 is too much for you, look at the second hand. So many to choose from, plenty of manuals, plenty of automatics. Go shopping, enjoy yourself. See you next week.
And now it's an advertisement. This one is important, so no, you cannot skip it. If you're going to review a sports car properly, you have to find a twisty road with some real corners and actually drive it. Spend some time with it. That's what we do.
Oh, this turns in beautifully. That's a lovely corner there.
So for real reviews of classic and sports cars like these, from the affordable to the exotic, take a trip down under with us, inCARnation Australia. See you there.